said, we've got enough Disney people in the audience here. We have you surrounded, I think. And I'm not sure how to take that. I don't know all of you, but were you bad last night? Was there some reason we have guidance counselors in the room for you? So anyway, good morning. It's great to be here. I'm going to go through this fairly quickly, and I know we're going to have some Q&A afterwards, and we can answer some of your specific questions, maybe even catch up afterwards, beyond that. But I started with the company in 1971 and was a custodial host in the Magic Kingdom at that point in time. And so I say that to you just to say that, number one, I've been around for quite a while. Number two, this place was just a bit different than it is today. From a hotel standpoint, we had the Contemporary Resort, we had the Polynesian Resort, and in November of 1971, shortly after opening, we opened a place called Fort Wilderness Campground. And so I'm going to talk a lot today about diversity of product and some of the changes that we're making and have made actually over time with some of the recent additions that we're making to this product. And I'll say there's two things that are driving that. The first one is that you may or may not know, but Walt Disney had a vision, a rather grand one for Walt Disney World. But one of his thoughts was, when it comes to resorts, I want a place for everyone to stay. Whether you're in a tent and you like to camp, or whether you want the most plush accommodation that's out there. And I would say that the Grand Floridian and our deluxe product fulfills that need. We opened with something less than that, and over time we've been able to fulfill that dream, and we're not done yet. I'm sure there's many more things that we're going to do. Secondarily, I think it was very clear to us as we continued to sort of go forward from 1971 that our guests did in fact have other needs, and they were making demands on us, and we started thinking about the diversification of our product. And so you saw us open, besides other deluxe resorts, moderate resorts, value resorts, and in recent time we've begun to go into other areas. Our family suites I'm going to talk with you about a little bit, and specifically art of animation in that particular regard. And then recently, more heavily in themed rooms, and you're going to get a peek at one of those concepts today. So that diversification continues, and it's all around the fact that our guests want that variety, right? There's a need for these sorts of things, and I'll continue to talk about that. On the scale of everything, we have more than 20 resorts today, okay? And I leave it that general, quite frankly, because just kind of depending on how you want to count them, you can come up with a slightly different number than that. There's a lot of resorts. Might be another way to say that. We've got more than 26,000 rooms now in our portfolio. So yes, I believe that at this point in time, we just about have everything for everybody in our resorts, but we continue to sort of look at new opportunities. We've got almost 6,000 premium rooms. We've got almost 7,500 moderate rooms, to give you just a scale of this, 8,500 value rooms. And in the Disney Vacation Club, Jim's going to talk about this to some degree, we've got 4,500 plus rooms in our Disney Vacation Club family. And that includes our Hilton Head and our Vero Beach properties that we have today. So let's talk about art of animation just a little bit with you. And this idea begins to originate in a variety of ways, but one of the things that we did before we solidified this idea and the concept of art of animation is we tested some product in All-Star Resort. That was the first place we put in a couple hundred plus family suites. We converted some of our existing guest rooms, and what we said, there seems to be a market out there. We see a demand and an inquiry from our guests more and more around multi-generational travel. or just that they want to bring multiple families with them and spend time together at Disney. You'll probably also remember we were doing a lot of celebrations at that time all around families and multi-generational travel, special events that our guests might be celebrating with family members, and just encouraging that travel. And so these suites we put in play on a relatively small scale in our total portfolio, and I'll just simply say were well received. They're extremely popular. They're full nearly all the time, and we got great comments back from our guests around this. It's also quite normal in the resort industry to have these kinds of units available out there. But certainly it was guest demand primarily that was driving us to look at this. So Art of Animation begins to come onto the scene, and lo and behold, we're going to have 1,200 of these guest rooms, family suites, in that portfolio at that resort. That resort's going to be about 2,000 guest rooms. 1,200 of those rooms are going to be family suites. The other 800 or so are going to be our value rooms, very similar to All-Star and Pop Century. But the other thing that's neat about this resort is that it's going to celebrate some of our most iconic, some of our most popular animation films, animated films. And so examples of that, of course, is Cars. It's The Lion King. We were just talking about, that's transitioned even into sort of the stage at this point for quite some time. It's been tremendously popular. But anyway, iconic elements that we're going to bring to life. WDI has done a fabulous job, and you'll have to kind of just take my word for this because it's under construction right now, right? But they've done a fabulous job with the design, both exteriors and how those treatments are going to be. And then the guest rooms themselves are just going to be much more immersive than what we've done with the guest room before, both in the family suite side and in the value room side. So we're really excited about this product. We are very sure that it is going to be extremely popular with our guests, and we're going to begin to open that in May of 2012. And so it'll open in phases, but we'll begin that opening in May of 2012. So it's well on its way. It's going vertical for quite some time now, and we get aerial shots every once in a while. It is just really moving along really well from a project standpoint. What I want you to remember is the diversification of the product. Making sure this offering is really meeting the needs of our guests. So it's no surprise to any of us that why do guests come to Disney, right? They come to Disney to become immersed in everything that is Disney. So we did our first test with this with a thing called Pirate Rooms at the Caribbean Beach Resort. Seems like a very logical place, by the way, to do pirate themed rooms. Again, 300 plus rooms that we did there, and took those guest rooms, existing guest rooms, this wasn't a new build, existing guest rooms, and totally transformed that space into the decor, the spirit, and the immersiveness of everything having to do with the pirates. Again, very popular with our guests, tremendous feedback, and as you know from Disney, we look in all kinds of ways to get guest feedback for our guests and make sure that we're putting the product out there that they're really looking for. Really great feedback on this. This has led us to our next concept, the one that you're going to see today. And I won't do it justice. I'll let you guys look at it. It's a fabulous treatment that WDI has done around royal rooms. And so this recognizes our princesses and princes, some of our most iconic prince and princesses, in a really neat treatment in a guest room. Again, very immersive, much more over the top, and you'll get a real feel for this than some of the delicate, more quiet treatments we've done in the past around our character imaging and theming in our guest rooms. So this is very, very immersive, and you'll get a great idea of that. So 500 plus rooms that we're going to do at the Port Orleans Resort, specifically in the Magnolia Bend portion of Port Orleans. And we begin to open these up in 2012 again. So really excited about this. And as you can imagine, we're going to continue to think about these kinds of concepts, their popularity, and where else we might go with this kind of experience for our guests to continue to diversify our offering. Starting this fall. And it's a room offering, again, that we do not have today. And essentially, what you're going to see is that we've focused on three areas here. Certainly the treatment side of the health and wellness. So you'll be able to get a variety of treatments right into your guest room, and we have the appropriate space there to be able to do that. We also have set aside a treatment room on this floor specifically to do couples, mom-daughter kinds of treatments that might be best suited for this space. We might be able to do small yoga kind of classes that will be available for our guests. And so treatments is certainly a critical area for us. Cuisine, and so in our lounge area, we'll really be thinking about wellness from a food standpoint. You know, what do we want to offer there different than our club lounges or other lounges that we have on our property today, and make sure that this really is a unique offering for these suites. And then, of course, service, as you can imagine. Disney service is always fabulous. You might say I might be a little biased when I say that to you, but we've got to make sure that this service has got to recognize the focus of these rooms. You know, this is about health and wellness, so we've got to take our Disney service to a new level here and make sure that as these guests come in, we've provided the right things into their refrigerator. We're making sure they're getting the services that they're looking for, and that we're extremely conversant on what those services are, and really be able to customize the experience for our guests. All in the middle of them, of course, having a wonderful vacation here at Walt Disney World and having a wonderful theme park visit also. These treatments and this floor is exclusive to those guests, so no one else comes up on this floor. This is a part of the service that is for this floor. And from a cuisine standpoint, we'll be thinking about things that are seasonal, they're organic, fresh foods, as you can imagine, appropriate portions. We'll be very respectful, and always are, around varied diets and specific needs that guests would have. And certainly we'll have a very unique private dining menu. That is not to say that at the end of the day that they won't be able to order a hamburger off of the regular private dining menu. But we will have our own private dining menu for these guests. So a really interesting and a new approach for us to try something different again. And as you can imagine, in the marketplace, we continue to see a need for guests that want this kind of experience. We thought we would try it here first, see what happens, and then go from there and see where we go. So Art of Animation, the Royal Rooms, and Health and Wellness Rooms, and more to come, I'm quite sure, as we go through time. So thank you very much. I will leave it there.